Hello and welcome to Every Movie Ever, the show where we are going to review every movie ever made. I'm Eric Houston, and our very first movie on our very first show is Escape from L.A., the sequel to John Carpenter's classic Escape from New York, starring Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken, is pretty much just a remake of the original Escape from New York. It is not a very good movie, and that's why I gave it 1.5 stars. Our second movie is Goosebumps, the recent big screen, I guess, adaptation of those series of scary books they had when we were kids. It stars Jack Black as R.L. Stine. It was kind of a so-so movie. I gave it 2 stars. Then I saw The Lobster starring Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz. Terrific movie. I really enjoyed it. It is super weird, a little bit unsettling. It's a very dry, dark comedy movie about a world where the government demands people be in loving couples. And if you're not in a couple, you are arrested and turned into an animal of your choosing. Colin Farrell wants to be a lobster. It's a really weird movie. I don't think it's for everyone, but I liked it a lot. I gave it 3.5 stars. Then back to big budget action movies, this time with Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. If you would have told me 10 years ago they were going to make a movie with Batman and Superman in it that I did not want to see, I would not have believed you. But they did it. This is a really bad movie that I think misunderstands Batman and Superman completely. The only redeeming value of the movie, and that's barely even, is Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is pretty okay, but the rest of the movie is pretty lousy. I gave it 1.5 stars. Now, if you keep watching this show, you're going to notice that I watch a lot of bad movies, and sometimes I do it on purpose. Home Sweet Hell, starring Katherine Heigl and Patrick Wilson, was one of those. I like Patrick Wilson a lot, love him in the Conjuring movies, thought that this might be okay. It was not. Watched this for a podcast called The Flop House, where they talk about bad movies. I like to watch the movie before I listen, because I'm a weirdo. This is a really lousy movie. It does have a couple of parts that are kind of entertaining, like when Katherine Heigl has to put on like a transparent raincoat to chop up a body. Pretty good. Otherwise, not a good movie. 1 star. Unless you're living under a rock, you know that Disney's got a brand new live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast in theaters. Something that inspired me to go back and watch the animated classic from when I was a kid. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to hold up all that great. Let's be honest, it's kind of a weird story, but it really is a masterpiece. What I was really impressed by is that the movie kind of never stops moving. It's a very kinetic and enjoyable movie. That's why I gave it 4 stars. Speaking of live-action Disney movies, check out Alice Through the Looking Glass, the recent sequel to the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie. Tim Burton must have seen the writing on the wall. He did not come back for this one. It was directed by James Bobbin from Flight of the Conchords and the more recent Muppet movies. I like Bobbin a lot, but he really couldn't overcome this really lackluster idea of a movie. There's not a lot going on here. It's pretty boring. It's worth about 1.5 stars. Now, probably the best movie I've seen lately, my favorite movie that was released last year, The Nice Guys. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in a period mystery movie, kind of a comedy action thing from Shane Black, who does that kind of thing so well. This is about 2 kind of unlikable characters, sort of down and out PI and a guy who beats people up for the mob, team up to try and solve a murder. It was a hoot and a half, a great movie. It looks great, the action's great, the acting's great. You should go out and see it right now. 5 stars. Now, if you're like me, and I know I am, you really enjoyed the couple of recent Star Wars movies. After seeing Rogue One, I decided I needed to go back, rewatch The Force Awakens. I loved it just as much as I did the first time I saw it. Yeah, it has its problems. It is kind of a remake in some ways of the first Star Wars movie, but I just love the new characters and the new situation so much, I had to give it 4 big stars. Another bad movie podcast I listen to is How Did This Get Made? It's another one where I make myself watch the movie before I can listen to the podcast. So for how did this get made, I watched Airborne, the 90s rollerblading movie about a dude from California who moves to Ohio or something, makes friends with Seth Green, rollerblades around. It's pretty bad, 1 star. Speaking of the 90s, it was about time I went back and rewatched Scream, the horror movie that really kind of defined horror movies for that decade. I liked it a fair amount when it came out, and rewatching it, I like it about the same. Is it a great movie? No. Is it a fun movie with some 90s cheese in it? Yeah, it is. I give Scream 2.5 stars. There's a movie streaming service online called Vudu that I don't know that a lot of people are aware of. Right now, they've started putting a bunch of movies on there for free. I've been going through, checking out some of the movies that they have on there, and I found one I'd never heard of called Highway to Hell. It looked kind of stupid, but I don't know. There was something about it I wanted to see. Let me tell you something, I'm glad I did. It's from the early 90s, but it has that kind of late 80s horror comedy movie charm to it. It's no Evil Dead 2, but it's kind of in that vein. This is a movie about Rob Lowe's little brother, Chad Lowe. His girlfriend is Christy Swanson. They're eloping. They take a back road that they're not supposed to take. They get pulled over by the Hell Cop. This is a policeman from Hell whose handcuffs are 2 hands on a chain. He abducts Christy Swanson, takes her to meet the devil. Chad Lowe's got to get her back. Along the way, he runs into Ben Stiller's whole family for some reason, and Adolf Hitler is played by Gilbert Gottfried. This is a forgotten classic. Get on the internet, watch this one right away. 3.5 stars. On another movie streaming service, this time Netflix, I decided to check out Kung Fu Panda 3. Really liked the first 2 Kung Fu Pandas. There's a lot of creative action in those movies, so I thought we better give number 3 a try. As for how did 3 hold up? Seen worse. Wasn't great. 2.5 stars. Vin Diesel's back in The Last Witch Hunter, trying to prove that he can make a movie that isn't called Fast or Furious, and he failed. This is not a great movie. It's about Vin Diesel as an immortal guy from the 1600s who's hunting down witches in the modern day. It's pretty stupid. There's not a whole lot of charisma in it. I gave it 1.5 stars.